on Friday night, we took a tough loss. Our staff felt like we were trying to get some more balance, and we were trying to get a lineup together to try to see if we can be able to find that. And it's a great opportunity for us against a good team to see how well it plays out, because in the practice gym it worked really well, but until you play a great opponent, you really don't know. And we want to make sure that we get something solidified prior to our Big 12, and our team just couldn't find a rhythm Thursday night, and we struggled early on. But I thought we did a great job when we went back to our lineup and battled hard, and served I think 2 or 3 times and had some swings to win Game 4 to send it to 5, but we couldn't make that happen. So a disappointing loss on Thursday, but we came back and made sure that our team was confident, kept them relaxed, and I felt like we played very well on Friday, a lot more consistent. The team worked hard. They were committed. There was a lot of confidence from our side of the net, so I like that. And there's still things we can get a lot better on, but overall, very pleased with the way that we bounced back and how we showed a lot of character during that time. So it was great. On Friday night we did not play Kat Bell. She is fine. Her health is good. We are just still on the recovery process with her injury, and we want to make sure that we are not overdoing it and putting her in a position where she could hurt herself. So there's no need to worry about what Kat is going to be able to do for us. It was just more of a precautionary thing from our staff and our training crew to make sure that she continues on the path that she is going on. Our freshmen have been doing a nice job so far. I'm very pleased with their progress, their confidence, their ability to come in and contribute, and just continue to get better. They've been a big part of this team. We've got some great upperclassmen, but we are relying a lot on our freshmen, and overall they've done a very good job for our program to this point, especially considering that school started last week, and that's usually a little overwhelming for their first time going through that. So our staff is pleased with the direction that they are headed. And then this weekend we have a very tough tournament with the national runner-up in Illinois on Friday night, and play Central Florida on Saturday along with Cincinnati. So this will give us our last opportunity to kind of get prepared before we take on Oklahoma in Big 12 play. And we're excited where this team can go. We have not had a lot of time to train our team in the last 2 weeks with the travel that we had to West Virginia and Penn State, and then trying to get that lineup together last week. So we're excited to kind of get back in there and fine-tune some stuff, get them used to playing next to each other, and really work on some areas that we can grow on for the rest of the season.
Questions?
What would be your biggest concern then? I know you said finding a rhythm was something I struggled with, but now that you've got just a few more games before Big 12 starts, what are your biggest concerns?
Just our biggest concern is getting some continuity and getting them training. I mean, there's not really, I wouldn't say there's any concerns. It's just more of getting them comfortable. With our sport, it's if players don't get a lot of time next to each other and learning how those dynamics work, it can struggle a little bit, and that's what happened on Thursday. And we'll get back to finding a lineup and getting consistent in terms of what we can do, and continue to improve on the areas that we need to. I mean, there was a lot of areas shown on film from Thursday's night match that we showed them on Friday, and they did a much better job with their blocking and their defense and being a lot more still in those areas. So we'll get back to training those and getting some reps. We haven't had a lot of time to rep those out.
As far as the freshmen go, has it been a good surprise, or is that what you expected from this group?
Well, on paper we were expecting it. You never know how they're going to be able to respond, but overall they're a confident group. They're very well experienced. They learn very well. They're getting stronger and more comfortable within the system. But yeah, we're very pleased with where they're at this point. We know they're going to get better, and we're lucky that they're part of our program right now.
Coach, talk a little bit about bouncing back from the 2 consecutive losses on Friday night and what that meant to your team.
Bouncing back is important for us. For our staff, we wanted to make sure that we were getting them in a comfortable position. We didn't want. It was an opportunity where we could have stressed them out and kind of hammered home and been disappointed in the loss. But I think overall we wanted to get back and show them some things, but not overwhelm them, get their confidence back, keep it loose. And, ultimately we as a staff, we have a lot of confidence in what this group can do and where they're going to head. And we know that this is a long season, that with the youth of this group and mixing that in with our veterans, we want to make sure that there's a solid front from our seats, and knowing that they're going to be really good down the road.
Jerritt, does that help prepare you for the
Yeah, it does, because we got to play back-to-back in the NCAA tournament, and I thought I was a little concerned after the second game. I thought, our outside hitters didn't have a whole lot of pop, and we went into the break, and they came back, and all of a sudden, Eckerman didn't have any more hitting errors. She was very dynamic with her approaches. She was in a great position as well as Bailey, and I thought they did a great job. So just letting them understand that what the freshmen need to learn is that that's the type of competition that's going to happen in the NCAA tournament. So very good lesson for us, and it's why we schedule the way we do.
Losing the home streak. Do you take it personal, losing the home winning streak?
It would have been nice to continue, but it's part of the process, and we just encourage our fans to come out. We need them to come out and support us on this weekend and have a big crowd. The crowd on Friday night was great, and it's a big part about who we are and who we want to be, and it's a great facility in front of some great volleyball right now.
Is there any one area of the game where you're disappointed that you're not where you want to be and you have to make the biggest stride?
Yeah, there's a lot of areas that we need to improve on. Our passing can continue to improve. Our blocking can get a lot better. I thought we made some great adjustments in Friday's match compared to what we did on Thursday. We had 16.5 blocks in 4 games, and we're a lot more consistent, and therefore our defense was a lot better. We once we're able to kind of put that to and get a little bit more balance with our offense, it's going to be a good group to put together on the floor and compete for the Big 12 championship.
You talked a little bit about your freshmen. Any surprises from anybody else on the team?
It's been nice. We've just been able to count on all of them. We had confidence in what Sarah Haddis can do. We stuck her in the lineup on Saturday, and she did some really nice things. Just getting her some experience and some playing time, and she'll get some more opportunities probably this weekend for us. Kat Brooks came in and did a phenomenal job defensively and steadied our passing out a little bit, and we're pleased. And Amy and Molly and Nicole have done a nice job for us. So we're relying on different players each night. Our staff has confidence looking down the bench if they're not in the lineup, and they're able to add different increments to our program right now.
Is depth like that more important than even winning, Jerritt? Find out what everybody can do.
That's what we had to do. We had to be able to get ourselves into position to try that out, that lineup, because we need to get some continuity with our lineup and trying to see where we're at. And I felt like we learned a lot about it, and the depth is important, but we got to get our pieces together so we can train and get them used to playing one next to one another, but also just kind of repping it out and getting our systems back in place. We've had very few probably 2 practices maybe in the last 2.5, 3 weeks where we've actually been able to train. It was more just kind of playing and finding our system and getting them used to those dynamics.
You talked about bouncing back, but can you talk a little bit about the change in the mentality of the team between Thursday's game and Friday's game?
Yeah. Part of that was my responsibility as head coach. We put a lineup out there trying to get that, and we thought it was going to be good. And sometimes it looks good on paper and it looks good in your practice gym, but when it gets exposed on the court against a good team, you have to be able to see that. So, there wasn't a whole lot of confidence once things started kind of not falling together. Game 1 we hit 355, but our defense wasn't nearly as good as it could have been. And then Game 2 we just lost a lot of confidence. In Game 3 then we battled back and won, and Game 4 we battled. So I think obviously confidence has to do with comfort level too. Things may have been different if we would have won Game 1 against Minnesota on Thursday, but we weren't able to pull that out. And this group is confident. I feel like they know what they want. I think they're working hard. Going back and watching film from what we showed them on Thursday night in terms of work ethic, especially even from Penn State, you're seeing some great carryover. I watched the match a couple times yesterday and was very pleased with some of our coverage areas and taking care of each other and the way that we're competing on a point-by-point basis.
What was the environment at West Virginia like?
It was fun. They did a great job in terms of promoting it. It was the biggest crowd they've ever had for volleyball. I believe it was 3,200. They brought out the whole marching band, so they had over 350 band members. It was a great environment for West Virginia as well. You could see the genuine excitement that they had for having us being a part of the Big 12 and them joining it for the first time. We were getting off the bus and people were taking pictures after the game. It's great for our conference. It's great for West Virginia, and they'll continue to improve in that sport.
So people were taking pictures of y'all?
Yes.
You're like celebrities?
I don't know if we're celebrities, but it was just kind of a neat thing to see Texas on campus, and it was, it's always neat, and it's a great environment and a great city, and we're excited about having them here.
And how long will it take West Virginia maybe to get up to speed where they can be nationally competitive?
That's the $1 million question. That's the challenge that we all have as coaches. But they're good coaches. They're great recruiters. They know what they're doing in the gym. I think being a part of the Big 12 conference for them and TCU is going to improve their programs tremendously. And you know, like anything, it takes time. And but I'm confident in those staffs, and they'll do a good job.